Jam. Toon Jam.
Hello and welcome to Toon Jam. I am Matt.
And I'm J-Man.
And today we are talking about a cartoon that is fresh on the scene. Absolutely fresh on the scene. It's Monsters at Work. Monsters at Work is an American computer animated streaming television series. And it continues the story of the 2001 film Monsters Inc. and is part of the Monsters Inc. media franchise. The series debuted on Disney Plus, the streaming service for Disney, on July the 7th, 2012. So that was last Wednesday, I believe. So just a week gone by. 2001 Monsters Inc.
I know. Oh man.
Oh boy, that ages you, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
20 years. That's crazy. I mean,
what a different time back then.
Yeah.
Time.
Let me tell you a bit about the production. During Walt Disney Company's earnings call in November 2017, CEO Bob Iger announced that the new series set in the universe of Monsters Inc. was in development for their planned streaming service, Disney Plus. The series is produced by Disney Television Animation. Longtime Disney TVA producer Bob's Ganaway. I've never known someone called Bob's.
Bob's plural.
Yeah. Will serve as showrunner. He has asked to work on the series after developing began due to his experience on both TV and animation and films, having directed the Cars spin-off Planes, Fire and Rescue. Have you ever seen the Cars spin-off Planes?
I haven't even seen Cars.
No.
So I definitely have not seen Planes, Fire and Rescue.
I've not seen Planes, Fire and Rescue.
That's definitely an entry I haven't heard about since it came out at the cinema.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it's one of them just for toys.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe they're good still. Who knows? We've not seen. But I think he did things like some of the old animation series, like Hercules.
Oh, right, okay.
A lot of the film spin-off cartoon, Timon and Pumbaa and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah, he's returning to the film spin-off. I guess that's his expertise.
Yeah.
During the 2019 D23 Expo, Ganaway and producer Ferrell Barron revealed that workers from Walt Disney Animation Studios and Pixar were also involved in the series, a collaboration Ganaway describes as unique and special. Monsters Inc. filmmakers include director and Pixar's chief creative officer, Pete Docter, provided the team with both used and unused concept art from the film, with the unused concept art being recycled for the series. And a little fun fact about the show, the series will expand or has expanded on the role of female characters in the original film, with the receptionist Celia being promoted to laugh floor supervisor in order to move a female character up into a leadership role, as well as featuring trainer Miss Flint's reaction to the transition from scares to laughter. The series also features a new character named Rose, who is Roz's twin sister, as the producers felt that due to the laughter being revealed as the head of, due to the latter, apologies, so much laughter and scares that sent me loopy, being revealed as the head of the Child Detection Agency, the CDA, at the end of the first film, she wouldn't be back outside the laugh floor. So there you go. It's back. Monsters Inc. is back in a new way.
20 years afterwards.
20 years.
Ooh.
Let me tell you a bit about the reception, the old Rotten Tomatoes rating. It has a 71% approval rating, with an average score of 6.12 out of 10. Based on 21 critic reviews, the website's critical consensus reads, "If Monsters at Work doesn't quite capture the magic of the original film, it's charming and silly enough to entertain fans of all ages." Metacritic, which uses a weighted average assigned score of 55 out of 100 based on 9 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews.
Yeah.
So
not fantastic reception.
No, I mean, as we know through looking through previous things, Rotten Tomatoes is giving out quite a few 100%ers.
Yeah. It's not one of those things where you're like, well, 100 is just pretty nigh impossible. It's like, no, 100's very much achievable though, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, very much.
It's like 1 in 5 shows has a 100% rate.
Yeah, but there's only been 2 episodes out. So maybe that's, well, there'll have been 3 episodes out by the time this airs. But maybe that'll change as time goes on. Maybe it'll get worse. Maybe it'll get better. Who knows? Okay, well, I mean, none of us had seen this before because it was brand new.
There you go.
But obviously 20 years ago, I take it you watched Monsters, Inc.
I did, yeah. I did. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. One of the most popular of the Pixar films, one might say. Maybe just because of its age.
Yeah, I'd say it's up there in my, top Pixar films.
Yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
I think, did you see Monsters University?
I did, yeah.
So it has been, continued in a way. I know it was a prequel, but it's still there in the kids know what Monsters Inc. is and stuff.
That's it. How did you feel about Monsters University?
I liked it, but not as much.
Yeah.
A lot of the sequels sort of that they've done, I've never really matched the first. Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of prequels anyway, in general.
No, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and I did, if they were going to continue it on, Monsters at Work would be a place I'd go to, if I had the option. I'd want to see what happened afterwards, as opposed to what happened before.
Especially, I mean, the way Monsters Inc. ended.
Yeah.
As a kid, I remember being desperate for Monsters Inc. too.
Oh man, yeah.
But they have said that even in this, we won't be seeing Boo.
Really?
Yeah, that's something I think they won't touch until they get absolutely desperate, and probably will touch.
Yeah.
The Toy Story effect.
That's it.
But yeah, I mean, I do think in general, when I think about Pixar, their sequels tend to be weaker. Yeah. That being said, Toy Story 3 was, a masterpiece. So it doesn't happen every time, but in general, I think, like Toy Story 2, still all right, not quite as good.
No, yeah, that's.
Same with Toy Story 4.
I mean, yeah, in my head, it still ends at 3 because.
Yeah, I feel like 4 is just like they wanted to end it again.
Yeah.
Which seemed unnecessary. Cars 2. You've not seen the first one, but no. Cars 2, not great, I didn't think. Third one, I did enjoy though. So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, they're good at 3, it's not good at 2.
Yeah. Finding Dory. That's another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll touch on this a bit more in a bit. Before we go on, let's just see what Twitter has to say about Monsters at Work.
Yeah, it's pretty fresh on Twitter because it's pretty fresh. But people have put their 2 cents in, as well as like a lot of people just being like, "I'm watching this now," or "I've just watched this," which I didn't realise was a thing that we do now, but apparently we do.
It's what we do every week.
Every week. Guess what? I watched this, guys. So we've got Kishan J, who says, "Monsters at Work is so bad when Sully and Mike aren't on screen."
Ooh.
So that's straight away with a negative.
Yeah.
And I mean,
do you think that's like a nostalgia only type effect?
I think so. Yeah.
Or unless they just really didn't gel with these new characters.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I think it's always going to be that you had a whole film where you had 2 films of these other characters, and then you've got to allow time for the other ones to settle in a bit, haven't you? Like
Yeah, and when you think, like you say, like this is an actual sequel, and carries on pretty much straight after the the first film. I guess people have been, in a way, waiting for this for like 20 years.
Yeah.
The big fans that will have watched it straight away. So, I guess that's fair.
Maybe, yeah. Each to their own, I suppose. Yeah. We've got Bennett Human, who says monsters at work, and then greater than sign, The Mandalorian. Which is that's probably a controversial opinion at this point.
Very controversial in my eyes. I'm a big Star Wars fan and quite a big Mandalorian fan too.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed The Mandalorian. I'm not huge on Star Wars, but I thought it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only seen 2 episodes of Monsters.
I know. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say which is better at this point. I think
immediately, like, this is well better than Mandalorian.
That sounds to me like someone that maybe didn't like Mandalorian, or B just got fed up with the hype.
Yeah, maybe.
That's always a thing. Or maybe they just preferred it.
Yeah.
Fair either way, but yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It could be. We've got Tai, who says, has anyone watched Monsters at Work? Honestly, I'm just here for more Jennifer Tilly.
Oh, right, there you go.
So, yeah.
Big Celia fan.
Yeah, big Celia fan.
Well, you'll be glad to know that they're up in a role in the series.
Exactly. Oh man, they're in for a treat.
Yeah.
That's what they came in for. Yeah, I mean, we all go back for different reasons. Some people just wanted more Jennifer Tilly, Some of us wanted to find out what happened.
She's got a very recognizable voice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So maybe they just love that voice acting.
That pitch is very unique.
Yeah, certainly.
And then finally, we've got Millennial FT, who says, these 2 furries in Monsters at Work be nasty and also kind of cute.
Oh boy.
I know, yeah.
Fair play.
So yeah, very different reasons for people to tune into Monsters at Work.
I mean, who's he referring to?
I don't know. I think maybe like the main guy, and then the orangey yellow 2-legged thing. She's furry. I don't know. I mean, I guess Sully's like a furry at this point, right?
I know. I mean, yeah, it could be anyone. It could be anyone.
There's a lot of furry characters in it. Yeah. See, this is a thing we didn't really have back in 2001. Furries weren't really a big thing.
No, yeah.
So now
there's a whole new slant on Monsters Inc.
Yeah, Monsters Inc.'s got a whole new market it can really go into.
And why not? There's something for everyone in these shows. So
yeah.
Okay. So to be fair, that's a generally positive view.
Yeah.
I mean, even the one that was sort of about Mike and Sully.
Yeah.
They still like Mike and Sully.
Yeah, exactly. Those bits are still good for him. So
yeah. Okay, well, let's dig in. So the first thing I wanted to mention, more than anything before I forget it, is as soon as it started, the first thing I'm thinking, this is before anything plays out or even begins, I couldn't help but notice it's like Disney Monsters at Work.
Yeah.
And there's no sight of Pixar whatsoever. Like maybe in the end credits.
Yeah, maybe.
But I didn't see it anywhere. And I kind of wanted to bring this up because I read an article recently about the relationship between Disney and Pixar. And how there's been a certain, I don't know if you've got Disney Plus, then you'll know that like they've been releasing Pixar films just on Disney Plus. No pay band, no like this is out for everyone in 3 months, premiere access for that while it's at the cinema. It's just been straight on there. And obviously all the Disney films. So take for example, recently we've had Raya and the Last Dragon,
Mm.
and that was a Disney film, and then Luca, which was
Yeah.
a Pixar film. Both films came out roughly around the same time. Luca a bit more recently. Luca was just, you could just watch that straight away.
Right.
Raya, you had to pay for the first three months.
Mm.
And I know there's been a bit of a, not a fallout, but it's been taken as almost like an insult.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like why would it be different? It seems like strange
Yeah.
that they do different releases for them.
Especially when I don't think that, like, it seems strange to me, like when the Pixar films were both, I thought, quite good.
Mm.
You know, it wasn't like they were just, weaker works.
No.
Soul being the other one.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah, I
really
enjoyed Soul.
Yeah. Raya, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't, it was up there with Monsters University.
Right. Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
That's the level it was, I felt. So it seems strange. I don't know what that's all about, but it seemed that, like, having read that and then seeing this, you kind of start to notice.
Yeah, there's some
Where's
sort of
the
bad
Pixar?
blood going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out when time goes on, but there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is weird.
But yeah, that was just something I wanted to point out. The next thing, I guess, the big thing is the cast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got like all the original characters, near enough, have returned to their roles, like except for the ones that have unfortunately passed away. But you've got, John Goodman and Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly, yeah. So others confirmed to reprise their roles. John Ratzenberger, who was the Yeti.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see him again. And Roz and Rose, who are both voiced by Bob Peterson.
Mm.
So that's quite. I don't know if I was expecting that almost.
No, I definitely wasn't. I was actually preparing myself to be like, oh, I wonder how weird it's going to be when they're not the right voices.
Yeah. And we're talking about the first episode, but I did watch both of them. And I thought maybe it might be a case where Mike and Sully are only in the first episode. Well, they're back in the second episode.
Oh, right. That's cool.
So they're in it.
Yeah.
Multiple episodes. They've been in every episode so far. So it's not like they're just like, oh, here they are, bye. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Like for a TV series to get the OG cast back in. It's just, you don't really get that.
No.
I mean, maybe now you do. Now that TV's in the golden era or whatever. But
well, that's it. Yeah. I mean,
you didn't used to get that. Let me tell you.
I don't think it will last.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think it's almost too big. But who knows? I think it will be difficult.
I mean, if you go back to the remember the Aladdin cartoon when it wasn't Robin Williams, like how weird was it, like to not have the right voices?
And that was Homer Simpson, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the guy that voiced Homer Simpson voiced the genie.
So strange.
Yeah, and then you look at like, I mean, we've even done Buzz Lightyear: A Star Command.
Yeah.
And that was strange because they released the first 3 episodes as a film with Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, but then also released it on TV, and it was Patrick Warburton for the rest of the time.
So strange.
And it was so jarring because it's not like he's similar.
No, it's really not.
But he wasn't bad in the role. It was just strange.
No. He does suit it, doesn't he? Oddly.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just not Tim Allen. So.
No, yeah, it's and that was. But that's what you've come to expect nowadays. Like it happened once when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? And then it became the norm.
Yeah.
But there was also the difference in films. You didn't always have like celebrities in animated films.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, not that you'd necessarily know. It might be like really big in certain crowds, like the West End Broadway crowd or whatever. But overall they could afford to put them back into the cartoon series. So people like Aladdin and Jasmine were still played by the same people, I think, but obviously the genie was not. But yeah, this has got everyone in, and as well even the new cast. So the new sort of main characters, who are a interesting bunch, but they've got like Henry Winkler in there.
Yeah.
And
so they've not cheaped out on it.
Mindy Kaling as well.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, they're not small time actors.
No.
Necessarily. So yeah, but I think this is the thing with Disney at the moment. They, you know, they own so much, they make so much money. But the good thing, you know, in opposition to that, is that they do actually spend it.
Yeah.
You know, at least they're putting it back into the shows. So you kind of, it's not like we're making loads of money and making rubbish, which often happens, you know, at these levels.
It's true, yeah.
But yeah, that was a big thing I noticed sort of straight away.
Yeah.
How did you feel about sort of the new characters then? Like, obviously we've had tweets that are less favourable towards them.
not big fans before, but yeah, I mean, like it was a brief enough introduction. We get to see a sort of like a department that we never really saw before, and I mean, quite almost immediately they've all, you know, got a character, haven't they? Like there's like the one that's secretly trying to become the next boss. We've got like the friendly boss character. We've got like the one that just seems to be like just doing whatever, the weird one. Like they're all, you get a good glimpse of them like pretty quick. As well as like his friend who, well, his old classmate that remembers him way more fondly than he remembers her. They're all pretty much, you know, I think they were all pretty likable, like from the get-go.
There's no one in it that you're like, ugh, whenever they're on screen, it's like, go away.
Yeah. Which is, you know, that it does happen. But yeah, they were all. I was pretty happy to be like, oh, okay, so this is the new lot sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we saw we got some good sort of progression almost like with the main guy in such a short space of time as well, which I thought was quite good.
So that's Tyler Tuskerman.
Yeah.
And he's essentially he has just graduated as a major scarer, broke Sully's record for the ultimate scare guy, and then they immediately turned over to laughter.
Yeah.
So he got put in the lower repair group, so to speak, which he's not very happy about. I do think it's one of those things where, you know, when someone gets thrust into these situations in a program or anything, and they're not happy about it, you just want to get to that bit where they've accepted it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really come in this episode.
Yeah, I think he's like, at the end he's got his gear on, hasn't he? Like they give him a hat or whatever, and it's like welcome to monsters sort of thing. And he still, you know, he wants to be a jokester, which is what they call him now, isn't it? Like,
jokesters instead of the scarers.
Yeah, like he's still got that ambition or whatever. So yeah, we'll see what comes of the rest of them. But I mean, like, how did you feel about it, sort of like progressing story wise? Right.
Yeah, I mean, as a first episode, it gave you everything you needed. You've got, I mean, it's going to be a show about the characters, really. It's not like, I don't think you should see it as Monsters Inc. 2.
Yeah.
I think you should see it as a series of Monsters Inc. As they had them, you know, like the Timon and Pumbaa series and the Aladdin series and stuff like that. They weren't necessarily like a second, you know, a sequel. They were just the adventures of.
Yeah.
And I think this is like what happens at Monsters Inc. after, and that's how you should look. This is just what, because you can tell eventually once it's settled in, it's just going to be, it's got a, like, I think it'll have a small ongoing story, but overall it'll be the adventures of what are they, the Mifflers or something?
Yeah. So
Or the Mifters. I can't remember what they are, but
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're the repair guys, basically.
That's it. And I
It's
mean,
more
like,
about characters, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And they've, I mean, the voices really help keeping it consistent with the films. But I think overall, it still feels like Monsters Inc., doesn't it? Like it's,
Yeah. And I think in a way, like, with it being the change to laughter, it changes Monsters Inc. as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can kind of, with the sort of change in theme in this show, it helps it almost, because it doesn't feel as big as Monsters Inc. did. But that's almost because now the people, you follow two of the workers who now own the place, so it would feel smaller. I think, and you still felt like, as much as you've got these guys that are the main characters, you've got Mike and Sully, which still have like a role in it. It's not a particular. I think they have them as other characters in the show, maybe not as prominent, but they are still. They have their own storylines.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it works quite well in that respect.
Yeah, and it's got all those elements that I think will give you a bit of a little tingle of nostalgia as well, because like the music, like the themes come back and stuff. And like as soon as like a lot of the setup shots and stuff were very much like pretty much scene for scene from the film. Like when you first see him training to scare and stuff, all that stuff's still in there. When you see the laughter floor now, like getting the doors in place and stuff, like if you enjoyed the film, it's got all these little things that you'll be like, oh man, yeah, this is it's still the same thing. It's just it's got that switch of, we're going into something a bit different with the laughter side of it, which is kind of a nice way of being able to have this sort of the new generation Monsters Inc. without it being aggressively put into the story, because it's like that did happen in the film before 20 years later. So it's just a progression of what happened. It's not like suddenly they were scaring everyone and then it's like, oh, new series, we're doing laughter now. It's like it's very natural how it progresses.
Yeah.
So was there anything you didn't like about it?
I'm not entirely sure. Really, I don't think there was anything that didn't tick my box or in any way. It was what I'd sort of imagined I'd get from it. I guess I don't know. I can't think of much. What about you? Is there anything that stands out?
No, I really don't think so. Like I was prepared to be a little bit disappointed, because I really did like I was still young when Monsters Inc. came out in that before time. back in 2001. I really enjoyed this film, and like I've always loved monsters and stuff, and this just thematically it was very much up my street. So 20 years on in a sequel that didn't really need to happen. Had this not occurred, I wouldn't have gone on, I wouldn't have arrived at my deathbed. If only we'd have found out what happened to Mike and Sully afterwards. It's like I wasn't sweating about it and not continuing it. Here we are. I'm a much older person now. I was ready to be like, oh, okay, they'll change all this stuff, or they'll mess this up, or they'll aim this at certain people, and it didn't really. There was nothing that I found offensive. There was nothing that I found upsetting. There wasn't anything that I found like inconsistent with the universe of Monsters Inc., if you will.
And I think that's the big thing, isn't it? It matches the film. I think like it has the some of the good things that you didn't really get from the film. Which aren't necessarily a bad thing, but like the more exploration of the actual world they lived in. Which I suppose you kind of got a little glimpse of it in the university, but not to what you would want, I would say.
No.
And this gives you that chance. And then I think as well, it's got the little details, like, or just the sort of play on words that they do with all the monster things.
Mm.
You know, and things like their deodorant is like wet dog,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and they've got bits like that in this as well, which really make it feel like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a part of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
almost, and it's nice to revisit. So yeah, definitely that's a big thing, I think, that, and you know, the fact that they matched it so well.
Mm.
When you know, they didn't, I mean, they needed to, but at the same time they could have easily not done that as in the same thing. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, they could have done what they wanted with it at this point, really. Because I mean, anyone who watched it when, like, you know, at that point is now 20 years older. Like, it's they probably moved on or whatever, you know. So
Yes,
they could have done anything, you know, if they wanted to aim it at a different audience and stuff, and they wanted to have a different feel, they could have done. But you know, it felt like going back to it, like pretty much, like it felt like, you know,
those new characters and stuff.
Mm.
Like I think that's a good thing in a way.
Yeah,
because it makes it reminds you that it's not necessarily like, it's one of those things you've got to remember when they do these things, they're not still aimed at you.
Yeah.
You watched it 20 years ago and it was aimed at you, but now it's aimed at, you know, a new generation.
Yeah.
But also, you know, in a way that you can enjoy it as well. So that new cast of characters helps that transition.
Yeah. I think, you know, like the moral side of it and stuff, and like, you know, I guess a lot of the subplot and stuff is pretty interesting with Monsters Inc. You know, like about the workforce, and like we're seeing with Tyler and stuff. You know, it's about like somebody who spent their entire life aiming for one thing, and then the world itself has changed, and now you know that one thing they were good at doesn't really amount to anything. So now, you know, they've got to become someone different that they never intended to be and stuff, which is, you know, the world's changing at a very fast rate and stuff. You know, I'm sure we've all got a situation like that, and it's like,
I mean, especially at the moment, like obviously with everything that's happened in the last, you know, year and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's world's been turned upside down.
That's it.
So anyone can relate to it.
That's it. To be able to have that in there, as well as it still be, you know, on par with, you know, a movie from 20 years ago, and it still have all the right elements, I think is a pretty good juggling act.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, actually, before we move on, I just want to quickly touch on the fact that obviously there are, we were talking about before, there's so many sequels and stuff, and this is more from a personal point of view. Are there any that you feel like that it's weird that they've never done a sequel or something with since? Like, I'm trying to think of which ones they did, because they've done a sequel for nearly all of them, I'm sure.
Almost everything, yeah.
But for me, the reason I'm saying it is because I always find it strange that there's never been anything done with A Bug's Life.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I remember that was massive when it came out. And it's like, it's one of my favourites.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's got a lot of scope, as well as like all the different intakes you can whack in there and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, as we've seen before, I think, you know, the 90s were big on bugs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that was about. I don't know where that came from.
I used to collect a magazine called Bugs when I was younger.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still have the same popularity.
Yeah, I don't know if they do.
But
it's all mermaids now. Everyone loves mermaids. The bugs of 2021.
Yeah, maybe they'll come back. I mean, Little Mermaid was before, you know, Bug's Life, so
yeah.
Monsters Inc.'s come back, maybe that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, is there any other Pixar properties that they've actually not done anything with? Now that I've asked that,
I can't think.
Let us know. Message in.
Yeah. Honestly, this probably would have been my top choice for, like, I'm surprised that, you know, because just of how popular it was. Like, I think it was like the third best grossing film of like 2001 or something. Like, it was, it did well objectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of strange that it took so long for him to
And like I say, I mean, they did do Monsters University.
Yeah, they did do Monsters. Yeah.
It felt less like a film about monsters and more a film about university.
Yeah, it really did. Like it was so. I think that did exactly what this show didn't do. Like, it was like, oh yeah, I'm back in now. That was like, oh, it's these two guys, but they're in somewhere completely different.
Yeah, they're just at university. It's just a university film.
It's like Mike and Sully go to space or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I know these guys.
It's like,
don't really know what's going on.
See more of the monster world rather than space /
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm really racking my brains. I'm sure there's, obviously there's newer ones that haven't had sequels, but it's strange. Yeah.
Don't know.
Not even like a little extra short or anything. Bring back Bugs Life. That's what I say.
That's it. You heard it here first. Get it. The hashtag will start.
Hashtag bring back Bugs Life. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's put this down and pick it up again, but for a final solid review. Okay, so obviously we've had some hits. We're doing well. I think it's time. We've made a few films recently that are brand new, fresh. I think we can do another sequel if you want.
Yeah. I mean, sequels are good. Yeah. I mean, prequels though, they're pretty awesome too. Yeah, we've had some success with those.
We can definitely work around and get whatever we want. Okay, so I mean, let's look at some of our older properties. I'm thinking maybe we could do something with A Bug's Life.
Bug's Life, yeah. I really like the Bug's Life, man. I mean, we've got quite a world to build there with all the different insects, and I'm thinking, like, imagine what happens if the bugs go back to university. I mean, it's like a bug university, man. It's like they're learning how to, like, climb the grass, and they're learning to be, socialized, and like the bug social, the hierarchy and stuff, man. And they're partying, they're having a good time, but it's all like bug themed, in class, bug university.
Bug
How about that?
I mean, I guess you could do something like that. Okay, yeah. I mean, let's put that one on the possible list.
Okay,
it's a good one. What about another one? This was big, and we never really did anything else with it. I feel now is a good time. Global warming obviously being what it is. WALL-E 2. Wow.
Yeah. WALL-E. Yeah, he's a great character. He said almost nothing, and I mean, but the film says a lot. We got to do something with that. And I mean, I can't help but think, man, like, what if WALL-E, like, went back to university, and he's like, they're teaching him how to, like, sweep the stuff, the trash everywhere. And I mean, like, what is he like? Because he can't talk, man. So like, the teachers are just getting so frustrated with him, like, hey dude, like, where's your homework, man? And he's like, just making beeps and stuff. I mean, what? Just imagine it, man. It's crazy. Like, WALL-E University.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. That'd be good. I think I maybe prefer the previous, but stick with me because we've still got more to go through.
Okay.
Here's another one. Obviously, we're trying to include more females, and we've had a lot of male-centric movies. But Brave, we did exactly that. So I'm thinking maybe Brave 2. If we can do something with Brave, it's a great universe. And we can definitely do something. She's young. She's still not. There's her entire life after this film.
Yeah. So much to work with, man. All the the Scottish legends and stuff. I mean, that'd be great. Like, we could do a lot of stuff, because, like, imagine if she went back to university. I mean, all the Scottish stuff, man. They're like in the hills, and they're like learning on, like, like stone slabs or something, man. I mean, imagine, like, the pool parties. Like, who's gonna turn up? Like the Loch Ness monster. mean, how wild would that be, dude? Like, everyone's doing flips off the top of the Loch Ness Monster, man, and she's like, no, this isn't what it's about. Like, I came here to learn, and you guys are just doing triple backflips all the time, man. But they're all talking in, like, Gaelic and stuff, because that's what they're learning. I mean, that would be a crazy film, dude.
Yeah. I mean, so, yeah, sort of like, so you're thinking like Brave Loch Ness University sort of thing.
Yeah, man, like Brave University. Yeah, Loch Ness University. That's awesome, man.
I think I'm getting the theme of what you like. Hey, stick with me here because, you know, they're great ideas, but I have one I think you will like, and we can, you know, really make something of it. I'm thinking Inside Out 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sequel. Obviously, the main character, she's a kid growing up, but now she's much older. She's off to college, to university, and she's got all of her emotions playing out in her head.
Mm-hmm.
You think of Inside Out University, and you've got all the other students, and you've got so much chance to play with those emotions. We've all been there. You really get to show the university lifestyle. What do you think about that? Inside Out University.
I mean, it. You know, to be honest with you, I mean, I hate it. Like a kid, like they grew up. We see them young, and then they go to university after. I just don't understand that. Like, how does that even work chronologically, man? I mean, that's just boring. You know,
I mean, I guess it was just more the, you know, natural progression. But okay, so forget that. That's off the table. Let's just go with Brave LNU. How's that?
Oh, dude, I can't wait. Get ready for those backflips, man.
Okay, so here at Toon Jam, we have a 3-point rating system that goes as follows. Thumbs up with the laughsters, baby.
Oh.
Thumbs down, scaring, that's taboo.
Mm-hmm.
Too spooky. And shaky middle, our realization of 20 years passing since we saw the first Monsters, Inc. at the cinema. Oh boy. Harrowing truths. Yet here we are watching cartoons on a weekly basis.
It's not all bad.
Okay, so I nearly said Monsters University then. Monsters at Work. Episode 1. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a big fan of Monsters Inc. Big fan. I even had a Boo doll, actually, believe it or not. Not something just
character for you.
I know. So it's so lovable, you know. I just wanted to take that home, literally, in a plastic form, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love the film, and so going in, I think you've got some sort of, I guess you've got some concepts in your head of like how, you know, and how you think it's going to go. And I mean, this really didn't let me down. Like it didn't disappoint me. We've got these new characters, but they're all, you know, like we said, they're all pretty likable. We get a good story for them going in. There's a reason for them to be there. It doesn't feel just slapped together for no particular reason. And, you know, on top of that, we've got the, you know, the legacy characters that are still going, and they're still there with the same voices. You know, it still feels like you're getting a glimpse into the universe of Monsters Inc. And I mean, it's still got all the things that make it, you know, exciting and fun. I mean, like the music, just hearing the music themes again was like, oh, this is taking me back to 2001 approximately. And we've got, like, you know, the animated bits of the doors and stuff, like all the titles and stuff. It's got all those little bits and pieces that make it Monsters Inc. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't include those, but, you know, they're there. It's nice. And then we've got some new on top. You know, it's not just, you know, them doing whatever. It's the world is continuing, and they're adapting to something new, which, you know, is, again, like we said, pretty relevant to the times. There wasn't anything that I could, you know, that let me down, really. There wasn't anything that that was jarring or anything. You know, it was pretty much enjoyable start to finish, I think. And I'd be happy to sit and watch, you know, a little more, see where things do go, because it was something that I don't think was necessary, but I think they've done a really good job with it. So I can't help but be a thumbs up on this one.
Wellingtons. Yes, no surprise really, considering our kind comments, and therefore I will immediately reveal that I too was a thumbs up. Oh, yeah, surprise. I'm sure you listening at home or on your commute or whatever are blown out of your shoes.
You've all just lost some bets there.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh boy. But yes, I too really enjoyed it, and obviously we've gone over the similarities. It gives you that same sort of feeling. It kind of reminds you how much you liked. Like I obviously, if someone had said to me, you know, 2 weeks ago, do you like Monsters Inc? I'd be like, yeah. Of course I do. But it reminds me how much I liked Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
When it came out, and sort of everything, like you say, that, you know, sort of the boo toy you had, and I remember having like a Monsters Inc. pencil case.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, like a mic rubber and just things like this that was just like an eye, which is just hilarious. But yeah, it's just like all these things, and you kind of forget, and then you're like, oh yeah, it has still got that vibe. And it is that, even that film, I suppose, in a way was sort of, you know, dealing with change, because they were told, you know, like humans were, you know, you couldn't touch them.
Yeah.
They were like disease ridden or whatever. I'm not sure what they thought, but you got the idea. That's what they thought. But this is also that like averse change, and there's still monsters that are, you know, don't like being touched by kids, or, I mean, this sounds strange, but, you know, they don't like being near them because it's like the scary aspect of it, and you know, the germs or whatever, which again right now is pretty present. But also it is that at the moment socially there's so much change, and I mean there's always change socially, because, you know, young people get older and old people get older, and opinions clash all the time. But at the moment, I suppose, with social media growing so big, the divide is very, you know, you're very aware of it.
Yeah. So
it is that kind of, you know, everyone's in a way feeling the change. So it's cool. It's cool that it's got that, and, you know, things like this, you know, they remind you that things do change, and they have to. In a subtle way, of course. It's not, you know, you're not going to watch it and be like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Everybody changes, but no. But it's there, and I think it is important to deal with it, and to let it happen as well. Like, change can be a good thing. But yeah, a long form way of saying thumbs up. Great show. I enjoyed it. It's what I wanted, and I'll continue to watch it. Yeah. As it comes out. So hopefully it'll keep up the good work. So another 2 thumbs up.
Hey, cool.
What is going on? The brief dip, and we're back on top.
That's what we like. Some quality stuff.
So let's see how long this goes. We made a prediction that we would never watch anything bad again. If you listen, so, you know, tune in to see us defeated and absolutely wrong at some point down the line. No doubt. But for today, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please feel free to rate and review us, and don't forget to subscribe to us as well. Also, if you're looking for old episodes, head over to our YouTube. And if you want some bonus episodes, you can head over to our Patreon. If you are looking for some merchandise, I mean, you're going to be looking for all sorts of things, but if you're looking for merchandise, you can get that at bit.ly /Toon Jam Shop. All that's left to say is, once again, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, you stay jammy.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/toonjampod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you, and stay jammy.